Now I need to overhaul the front brakes on the Honda Civic here, and it's a complete overhaul. So I'll give you an idea now of what I'm going to do. First I'm going to overhaul the caliper here. It needs a new piston. I've already had it out earlier to order parts. It needs a new piston and seal, so I'll be able to show you then how to overhaul the caliper. I'll also be greasing up the slider pins, replacing the rotor or disc, and putting pads in. But first we'll deal with the caliper. Now the first thing to do is to clamp the flexi brake pipe. Release the bleed nipple. Force back the caliper. I'll just loosen it. Tighten that back up. Undo the retaining bolts on the sliders. Now before I take that out, undo the brake line. Make sure you retain them washers. One on each side. Now, this case then I remove the caliper. Tip it up and drain it out. Now, I have the caliper here ready for overhaul. Before we do, I'm just going to use some washing up liquid and a drop of water to clean off the external parts before I take anything apart. And keep that part facing down, right? I'm not going to put it in the water, just keep that part facing down, right, where it connects onto the flexi brake pipe, and there's no way I can get into it. Just give it a wash to get all the loose stuff off it. Now these calipers are quite easy to overhaul, provided you go about them the right way. Now the tools you're going to need to overhaul this caliper is a screwdriver, small screwdriver, not too sharp. You're going to need a foot pump or some source of air. If you don't have a compressor, a foot pump is just going to be grand, you know, or the small electric pump that goes into the cigarette lighter will do in the car will do the job either. Now, what else you're going to need is one of these. This is a valve stem and core, right? Now you get this off your local tyre fitter, he'll give it to you for £1 or so. And what you need to do is cut the end off it and just shape it slightly like that into a kind of a funnel, and you can see that. Cut it off where the brass the internals of it, the brass internals of it can be seen. So just cut it off there where it becomes more rigid. Now what we're going to do with that is we're going to screw that into where the flexi brake pipe would have went, in here. Now this will keep a good it's a good way of keeping the air in there. If you have a compressor, of course, you can lose air all over the place, so you can just shove it in there to get the piston out and do whatever you have to do. But this is a good way of doing it. It's tidy. Screw it in there, a valve key, and right in with it. Till it's good and tight. Now that will give us good control over a minimum amount of air, so we don't need the big compressor. Now keep your bleed valve in and tight as well. We don't want any air escaping, okay? And now we go ahead and overhaul it. I'm now going to push the piston out, and to do that I'm just going to connect it to the foot pump. Now if you have a piston that won't retract in the caliper when you're changing brake pads and you put a G-clamp or whatever on it, and you've given it a reasonable amount of force, not too much, and it won't go back. It's rusty, and you'll find that out when you take it when you take the caliper apart. It makes logical sense, and you're going to need a new piston for it. Now, we get down to when ordering pistons and seals not online. I'll get onto that later on about numbers and all that, that make them, where to find relevant numbers and things like that that may be of use to you. But right now, we'll push this piston out. Now, I've already had this piston out previously, and the rust held it tight, and I had to go into the back here to knock it out, and I had to be very careful doing it because the you don't want the piston going sideways, so keep an eye on what you're doing. So now I would expect that I'll be able to push this out with just a foot pump here. Put something in the back of that. There you are now. Okay. Now what we'll do is take out the valve now. The valve core, sorry. Not even necessary to have it really in there, but it's handy. Now, if you can't get that out, get a pliers or whatever you can on this here and twist it and work it. But don't panic and don't bait it out of shape. Just with some kind of a pliers, just work it out. There you are now. Okay. Now, as I say, I already had this out, but I had to go back into the car because I was waiting for the stuff to come in. Now you can see that that's all rusty there. Even though I cleaned that off just to get it back in, I left the old pads in it, so this part here was all that was left in it, you know. So it was okay. It wasn't working over that part there, but you can see yourself, it's junk. Also, by the way, the reason for it is I'll find it now, of course. There's a hole in this seal somewhere. Yeah, there's the reason there. You can see there now. That's where the damp got in. Now, if you look in there, you will see the groove where the square cut seal goes, and you will see the groove here where the dust seal goes, and you will also see between the two of them this ridge here. Now, with a screwdriver, scrape that ridge down to make sure that there's no rust sitting high on it, and get a screwdriver or a scraper of some sort in there where the square cut seal goes, and scrape out all the crap that might be in there, and in here as well. If you don't scrape off everything, you'll find it difficult to get the piston in, and you'll find it difficult to get the dust seal in. So make sure you clean it off, because by leaving a mound on this here of rust, it only takes a small amount of it, it makes that circumference smaller, and when there's rust or debris behind the square cut seal, it also makes the inner diameter of the square cut seal smaller by compression. So make sure you clean off all these parts here and give them a good scrape and get all the crap out of there. That's all you do, just go around it all and get all the muck out of it, and there will be muck in there. Now the next thing we need to do is to place in the square cut seal. Now this is where I got them, big red. Okay. And here we have the seal tip. And this is the square cut seal. What we also need now is some red rubber grease, because that's the only grease we can use on these calipers. little bit of grease on the seal. Put your seal in. Okay. There's the square cut seal in. More grease in there. Place the seal in, and what you're trying to do is just get the outside of the seal in all the way around. Don't try and get the inner part of the seal in. Just get it in like this. Slide in. Walking it in with your fingers there. What you're trying to do is get the whole lot flush. There you are now. If you look in there now, you'll see that that's gone into the slot all the way around, and you can see that it's just, you know it's in the slot because it's all sitting right. Now put your finger in and work that inner part into the slot so it's tight in there, and make sure there's no high spots where it's puckered up. Work it in with your thumb right around it like that and work it in. Okay, just check it. Okay, I can see that seal is in there. Perfect. Now the next thing to do is to get the piston in. Before we do that, we put a bit of grease in there. Put a bit of red rubber grease this side of the seal. This side of the square cut seal. Now when working with the piston, I'm going to put this down to stop it rolling off the workbench. Place that there. And here we have the new piston. Now place the piston into the seal. We want that in there pretty tight. So what we'll do is place it in the seal and we'll pack it up. And if the seal pops out on you, you just ain't got it in tight enough. Okay. Now, that looks good. Keep that in there. Now place the pump on it. And then just pump out the seal. Okay. That's it all the way around, I think. A little bit of push more. Looks like it's all the way around. Not down the bottom. Push it up. Squeezing out there on me now. Almost out. Lift it up on the bottom there and get it to come out on the bottom. You control the air this way. Now, that's it. Okay? Push that back in a little bit. Now we have the piston in to the seal, and we have the seal in, nicely seated. Now it's just a case of pushing the piston back through the square cut seal. Gently does it, and if you've done your job right, cleaned it out properly, there you go. On back nicely. Hold on. Take the valve out. Man, oh man. Now, tells you how airtight it is. Now use our back. There you go, look at that. Now there you can see the piston in, sitting nicely in its seal. Now, that's the caliper sorted. Wasn't that hard. Keep things nice and tidy and clean. The valve trick is great, you know, foot pump, excellent job. You're able to control the air. And easy enough, you know. Preparation is everything. And that's it now, that's the caliper sorted, that's ready to go straight back on. And what I have to do now is, I'm going to do another video now on how to do the slider pins. And that's next.